Angelina, your movies always make me cry. Do you cry a lot?
Yes.
You do?
I do. I do cry a lot, don't I?
Yeah,
I do. I do. I cry a lot. I try to laugh a lot. I'm a very emotional person. I try not to cry in front of my kids. But if I do, I always try to say, like, they're happy tears. Or, you know, Mom, she's just... And they do. They don't... Now they'll seem... Like, when Mad turned 16 and I was crying because he asked me to read him his birthday card, so I read it to him and I just couldn't stop crying. And then he was laughing. So, yeah. Mom's emotional.
Your son Maddox played a big role in making this film. What surprised you the most, you know, in him when you saw him working?
Well, what surprised me was the day he said, because we'd written the script before, 2 years before,
Yes.
and was the day he said, because there was always an understanding that he would let me know when he was ready, because I knew that this would be he had to absorb a lot and spend time and really be, and so the day he said he was ready, I was a bit surprised, and that he knew what that meant. I think I was actually just surprised with his work ethic and his notes. Because we had this big production meeting, the first big production meeting, and I thought, he has to do it. He's going to sit here for 9 hours and take notes. But then I saw his notes, and they were really, you know, I realized then we were really working together. You know, we were really solving problems together and things like that. And so it was a surprise. But he's an interesting boy. He's quite studious. So he does he works well.
Great.
It suits him.
The story is told through a 5-year-old girl, through her eyes. What would you tell yourself, your 5-year-old self back then, now?
Well, it's the most complicated one. How would you?
Yeah. God, what would I have told her? That she is stronger than she believed she was. I always wanted to be strong, and I fought to be strong, and it worked to be strong, but I don't know if I ever really knew I was strong. I was just really fighting for it a lot. And I also would tell her that it's like, don't be so hard on yourself. I felt a lot of guilt. I felt a lot of shame for surviving, for being here when my sister and parents aren't, and for stealing so I could live. I felt a lot of shame, and I understand I needed to do it to survive, and I was tough even as a child, I was tough on myself. And I would just tell her, you know, you were a kid. You were not supposed to be going through this. You were supposed to be taken care of. You did the best you could, so don't beat yourself up over it.
What would you tell your 5-year-old self?
God. We had such different lives. My 5-year-old self was not, I don't know. I think I would try to just say to probably enjoy every minute with the people you love, because they won't be here forever.
This is a film about pain and loss, but also love and staying together, family. And I was wondering, how hard is it for you to keep that together now, especially now in this time of your life? I mean, to keep the family together. How difficult is it?
You have to keep family together. You just have to make sure it's the healthiest, best form of that family for the children. And then anything that helps keep the family together is what your focus is.
You're two incredibly strong women. Are you good at moving on from pain? You've both experienced pain in different ways. Are you good at moving on?
I think we both. I know what I mean. I think there's a using, when you can put your pain or any experience you have to use, which is something that she's clearly done and I try to do, then I think you don't sit with it and it doesn't just become something that eats at you. You try to learn from it, and then you try to share it, or you try to do things in life that then help other people go through other things, and then it manifests itself in a better way. I think that's how it seems.
Yeah. I mean, pain is not it's something everybody in life experiences. And so, I mean, I'm so blessed and proud how far they've come, and to be on the film set working with all these people, all the new young generations of Cambodians, and the people who survived and the people who didn't know, and how they came together and shared their experience as a way to move forward. And I think for me, that is how you best do it. It's not an isolated experience. It's got to be shared and spoken of and be heard.
Material things don't make us happy, and I think that's really wonderful, as we see that in the film. Your children are extremely privileged, yet they seem super normal, very sweet. How do you accomplish to not, have them rely on material things, like, to teach them that when they grow up so privileged?
Well, I think having material possessions, or having the ability to have material possessions or finances, is a privilege, so you don't worry. But the thing that any family needs most is love, laughter, those kind of things. So in many ways, Loung Ung was very privileged to have her family, extraordinarily privileged to have the parents she had, the family she had, and has. So with my kids, I don't know. I'm not a material person. So I think, my kids know what matters and what doesn't matter. They know that, what I value. You ask my kids, well, if there was a fire, what I'd run out of the house with, they wouldn't say anything. They'd say, well, probably some letters that we wrote Mom, or some cards we drew her. They know, and also they live in the world. So as much as they can have some experiences where they have the ability to have things, they also travel and live. When we shot the film for months in Cambodia, their closest friends are people that are extraordinarily rich in soul, heart, life, laughter, but don't have a lot of material possessions. They are actually their best friends, many of them. So they just understand what is true, which is that that's not happiness, and that's not what is the true value. And I never want them to feel bad for having the ability to have things, but they know that that's not what matters.
Yeah. Where does your happiness come from these days?
The kids.
The kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
The kids. Even the dogs. I
dogs
even like the crazy dogs. They're somehow making me laugh. Yeah. But of course the children. They're my best friends. They're just funny.
Fun.
And,
interesting.
We're all living together now.
No.
So I look at her.
Well, she said the nicest thing about Maddox. So So. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you, Billy. It was lovely seeing you again. Lovely seeing you.
Thank you.